Come on, come in. Welcome.
Guys, you should all know a first-time reader is never late, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to. Hold on. I'm a little discombobulated right now. I gotta make sure everything is set. I had to rush over here. How's it going, guys? Evening. It's afternoon by me, but it's cliche. My camera's too bright. One sec. What's going on? The book is different. You'll see Frodo roundhouse kick Sauron in the face and then turn around and smile. That smile. The one the lady hobbits love. Imagine if that happens. Imagine if they meet Sauron in Mount Doom and he's like, I've been waiting for you this whole time. Michael, thanks for the $10 too. I appreciate it. Means a lot. Yeah, cliche is just so good that it means that it works. Revenant, thanks for the gifted membership. Johannes, congrats on the gifted membership too. Love that. Ooh, it's raining by you. What's up, everyone? How's it going? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you're at. I have no idea. I'm really curious to see the difference between a book and movie with this chapter. Like, this one's going to be a fun one, to be honest. I say that for everyone, but where can you listen to your stream intro music? That was made by Ryan, who's been one of the day one members of the channel. If any of you need music for any project, he could probably make it for you. I don't know where you can listen to that. Maybe I'll just post like an hour-long version and just play that over and over and over again. Yeah, do you mean to say it's a good evening, or that you feel this is a good evening, or that it's an evening to be good on? Attila, thanks for the 100 RSD. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Man, you guys are great. I love you guys. It's a suspenseful chapter? Interesting. Good day. It's mashed potato time for you? That's a good day. Anytime there's good mashed potatoes, it's a good day. If Tom Bombadil and Fatty Lumpkin don't ride up heroically to destroy the ring, we riot. Now, the music is really great. Ryan has made some great music for this channel, and he made some Game of Thrones music too. I can't do Harry Potter live reads because that's really cuts on copyright infringement. But Dane, thanks for the $4.99 for the $5. I appreciate you. Finally catching a chapter live read on a foggy, cool afternoon. Thanks. I hope we have a blessed day too. Hope we have a great day. Honestly, sometimes I love a good foggy day. What's everyone's favorite weather? Sometimes it's hard to beat a good foggy day. I don't know why. Like a little moody. You're just kind of cozy inside. A good foggy day with like a good fire roaring. Good rainy day. Whew. This chapter ends on a cliffhanger too. I feel like every chapter ends on a cliffhanger. I feel like from this point on, everything is just a big cliffhanger. I'm so curious because I don't know. I have sneak peeks. The next chapter is called The Field of Cormallen. That's the right pronunciation. I don't know what that's about. What is the field? Is that going back to Pippin's story? Maybe Pippin's dead? You like sunshine but cold? Cold and cloudy. Interesting. Pea soup fog and light drizzle. Pea soup fog? I've never actually heard that. Heavy rain. I do love a good heavy rainstorm. Autumn days on the beach, underrated. Agree with you there. Autumn by the beach is really nice. I'm not the biggest beach person. Summer beach, meh. Autumn beach, that's where we're at. Summers belong to lakes. That's my take. Favorite weather is cool and sunny. Cool but sunny. Snow outside with an open fire. Oh, there's nothing better. Just a little bit, or not even like a little bit of a flurry. Like, just give me snow pouring down with a fire. Oh, also everyone like to stream. Because, the more times we like this, the more people who are Lord of the Rings fans can see this. Apparently. I don't know if that actually legitimately works, but I like to stream. Why not? It's just one click. Everyone take your finger and click that like button. Does it really do anything? No one knows, but hey, you never know. It's a field that belongs to some Cormallan. You give a lot to see the sun. It's been so long. Oh, that stinks. Where do you live? You live in the Arctic Circle. Sunny while raining is great. Snow in Latin is nix. Nix. Is it? Nix. Cliff diving at Greer's Ferry Lake in Arizona. That just is so summer. Yeah, true Nemo, but at the same point, sometimes for live streams specifically, liking the videos does something. It does something. No one really knows, but it does something. Oh, cold rainy days are kind of nice too. Cold rainy days with like a good book and a blanket, a really warm blanket. It's hard to beat that. The sky is white. Yeah, the sky's kind of white by me. There's like little patches. It's like mostly cloudy day. There's little patches of blue, but very few. Hey, that rhymed. More Night of the Seven Kingdoms is coming soon. Yeah, that one is going to come sometime this week. I'm going to read the second story in that. And I'm almost done with the first, with my friend's first watch of Game of Thrones. And as soon as we finish that, I'm probably going to start reading the books. So I'm pretty pumped for that. That's not going to slow down the Lord of the Rings content really, but and it's going to be on the Game of Thrones channel. It's not going to be on this channel because this one is specific to Lord of the Rings. Which coffee is better? I'm not a coffee drinker. See, the only downside of a cold and rainy day is when you have to walk the dog. My dog thinks the opposite because that's really when he loves to go for walks. Why is it? I need to pull the blinds. I look like I'm part of the dead army whenever I'm translucent. I'm not a big coffee fan, but Wes loves a rainy day. Like he'll like gets excited for a rainy day, goes outside. He like when it starts getting wet, he's like, and then when he's fully wet, he is just never wants to come inside. He's the best. He just hates the rain. Refuses to go out. I kind of wish Wes was like that. I'm pretty pumped for Dune too, to be honest. Dune's not going to come for a little while, I think. At least till I finish Lord of the Rings. My dog loves being wet. My dog is a strange dog. Oh, nice. Mr. Donato. What's going on? Also, that sounds like such a fun idea. Guys, if you aren't in our Discord, jump in our Discord because they're starting like Lord of the Rings campaigns, which is pretty sweet. When I finish my read-through, I think I'm going to do that. I'd love to do some D&D. Let me share the link if anybody needs it. Disable that. If anybody wants to join, here it is. Did I post that? Did that not post? What the heck? There we go. Yeah, my dog loves being wet. My dog does something where my dog fishes. We in the summers, we go for walks all the time. Me and Wes are walking all the time. He's spoiled. We probably go for like no joke, we probably walk close to like 4 to 5 miles a day. That's like an average day. Sometimes there's a light day. Oh, also guys, this is the guy. Ryan changed his name again, is the guy that made the music in the beginning of this. If anybody needs music, find him on the Discord and send him a shout because he makes great stuff. So everyone go check out Ryan's music. But Wes will go in the summers. We don't do as long of walks in the summers, but in the summers we will go to a little lake or like a stream, and Wes will literally sit there fishing. He sits there looking at the water. And he sees, and I know anytime he sees a fish because his tail starts wagging like crazy, and I'm like, oh, he's got one. And then he goes, tries to stick his face in the water and gets the fish, but he never has caught a fish. He's gotten close one time when there was a big fish in shallows, and he didn't know what to do. He was going crazy. But yeah, that was it's like his summer activity. Lord of the Rings as a reading guide and suggests Children of Húrin before Silmarillion, and I think he's on point. Well, I'm going to read that before I get to that chapter in the Silmarillion. So as soon as I get to that chapter, you guys need to give me a guide for reading the Silmarillion. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to read the Silmarillion, and then as soon as I come to the Children of Húrin chapter, I will not read that chapter and read the full book, and then read the that chapter as soon as I finish. So our Silmarillion book is going to be filled with a bunch of like rabbit trails, which I'm kind of pumped for. I know. Seriously, Attila, thank you. I saw that and I said I need to come back to those, and then my ADD mind, ADHD, that's the more modern term, right? Instead of an instant reread, a reread after The Hobbit and the Silmarillion gives you a next level experience. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I'm still tempted to do an immediate reread, because my next when I finish The Hobbit, maybe I'll do a reread when I finish The Hobbit, and then a reread when I finish The Silmarillion, and maybe we'll do that in a quick batch. Like I'll sit here and read like every single day, like 3-4 chapters a day, and just get through it. That'd be kind of fun, because if I go through The Hobbit, that's going to take me 3 to 4-ish months. If I go through the Silmarillion, I think that's going to take me close to a year, maybe 2 years, maybe more. And I'm like, I don't want to have to delay the entire time and not read The Lord of the Rings. And then I still have to get through all the appendices, which I feel like the appendices are going to just be filled with videos. I feel like every sentence I'm going to be like, oh, this is a cool point that I want to talk about. One book that would fit well on the main channel is Lonesome Dove. Essentially an epic myth for America, like Lord of the Rings is for England. I love that idea. I'm going to look that up. Lonesome Dove? Who's it written by? Yeah, if you guys have any other book ideas, because I'm very open. This channel is going to be 90% is a Pulitzer Prize winner? No way. Western novel by Larry. I've never even heard of it, and it's a Pulitzer Prize winner. Dang. Larry McMurtry. That is the most American sounding name. Hi, my name's Larry McMurtry. That's the best name I've ever heard in my life. Let me catch up. Yeah, I'm going to do the same with Beren and Luthien for sure. Same with Beren and Luthien. And the same with the Fall of Gondolin. Is that a chapter in the Silmarillion? Maybe. Lonesome Dove's good. Interesting. Yeah, I'll probably do Narnia on this channel because there's enough comparison with Narnia and Lord of the Rings. There's like enough, I'm eventually gonna do like a sci-fi channel where I do the Foundation and Dune. But we'll get there when we get there. We'll get there when we get there. Everyone liked the stream too, by the way. He's a good writer. Yeah, if you're winning a Pulitzer, you're a good writer. The Stand is eventually going to come. I will get to The Stand, but I don't have I was just telling my mom this morning, I was like, I need more hours in the day. In the day. The appendix should have a brief summary of a bit of the Silmarillion. Okay, interesting. Also, Boga, well, welcome. You just reread through the whole Silmarillion? I love that. What is the Quest of Erebor? Isn't the Quest of Erebor The Hobbit? Oh yeah, and the Caltonian, I'm definitely going to do the epilogue right after the Lord of the Rings read. I'll probably do my whole read of Lord of the Rings. I don't know, how long is the epilogue? Isn't there just one chapter that he wrote that was like an amendment? I'll probably read that maybe after the appendices, or maybe before the appendices. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I feel like we have like a month or two to figure it out, because I'll probably still be reading this for like 2 months. That's my guess. The Council of Elrond is a great chapter. I really cannot wait to reread this. I'm so excited to reread this. Standalone books aren't novels like Children of Húrin. Okay, interesting. Kalpa Imperial. Angelica Gorodischer. Mysterious Empire across untold time. Interesting. If you read Beren and Luthien in the Silmarillion before the individual... I might do that with Beren and Luthien. That's actually a good suggestion for Beren and Luthien, because poetry, I'd have to read that slower and in a bit different of a way, I think. So maybe I'll get the general story of that and then read the poem. That might be one I do after. But the Children of Húrin, I definitely am going to do that before I read the Silmarillion chapter. Because I want to be surprised because I don't really know anything. I hear it's tragic, but that's all I hear. Quest of Erebor is a chapter in Unfinished Tales about the Hobbit. Interesting. I love that. I love how many unfinished chapters that he wrote. Epilogue is books 6 and 7. We're going to get to start reading in 4 minutes. We'll start at 1:30. Playing Lord of the Rings online, fact checking as I play by listening to the audiobooks. Love that. Yeah, Children of Húrin is in the Silmarillion, I think, but there's still a separate book, right? I think it's like the elongated version. Gravel Nerd, what's up? No, you haven't missed the first dog setting unless Wes is unexpectedly popped into frame. He's sleeping in my bed right there. He's just chilling. Just chilling like a villain. History of Middle Earth is 10 volumes of unfinished chapters. I'm so excited for that. Legitimately, I cannot wait. It's going to be so fun to make videos about those. That's going to keep us busy for years. Oh my gosh. I can't wait for that. It's going to be fun. I'm curious how much of that is like legitimate, like legitimately world building stuff and like stuff that he was just nitpicky and wanted to rewrite. Like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. Aw, that's cute. Turin Turambar. The chapter titles are spoilery. That's interesting. Maybe. Yeah, I don't think Tolkien cared that much about spoilers and like keeping people in suspense that much. Maybe I will. I'll buy Children of Húrin and then ask like Danny or a friend of mine to black out the titles. get a Sharpie and just cut out all the titles. Honestly, maybe I'll do that. That's not a bad idea. .5 volumes of it is the account of the creation and the drafting of Lord of the Rings. Interesting. That sounds so fascinating to me, though. I'm really excited to get into his letters, too. I can't wait to get into his letters. You didn't like Return of the King as a title because it's a spoiler. Yeah, that's kind of true. But it could be talking about Sauron, the return of the king, Sauron. It could be a little, what is that, a red herring? What do they call those? Christopher Tolkien recorded Beren and Luthien. Interesting. How long of a read is that? Yeah, I can't wait for the Silmarillion. It's going to be fun. I'm really pumped. I keep hearing the name Feanor, but I don't know. I don't know anything about him. Yeah, no spoilers. No spoilers. Oh, that's right. Beren and Luthien are on their tombstone. Somebody posted a picture in the Discord this morning of someone. They were visiting the tomb. I had to give a little man, words. I'm tired this morning. This afternoon. That proves it right there. But words are evading me. So, with that being said, we're going to jump into a reading. Poor Feanor. Poor Feanor. Feanor's name was already given in Lord of the Rings. Yeah. He's mentioned once or twice. I forgot where he's mentioned. There's but again, like he adds so much. He like briefly mentions random things in Lord of the Rings. I feel like there's so much that you can kind of dive into. I'm pretty pumped. Lord of the Rings and Silmarillion is an epic. Yeah, different from spoilers with other books, yeah. Yeah, I definitely have to approach it different. Berserkers? Interesting. Yeah, when I start doing sci-fi, I'll definitely, I'm open to anything. It's 30. All right, everyone, it's 1:30. Get your books out. We're going to start reading. Yeah, let's get started. It's free if I'm subbed to Audible. Love that. I'll check it out. All right, everyone, get your copies. One question that I have before we jump in. It feels like the ring's going to be destroyed in this chapter. Which is crazy. Because we're in chapter 3 of book 6. What's the rest of this book going to be about? We still have 120 pages. What the heck? What's going on? All right, here we go. This is chapter 3 of The Return of the King. Also, everyone like the stream. Sorry, one sec. Chapter 3. The rest of the book is describing the flow of lava. I would not be surprised. No joke. I would not be surprised. All right. Should have gotten some water. I think I'm right. I think I'm right. This is a long chapter, though. This is like a 20-ish page chapter, or a little less. 17 pages. Chapter 3. Mount Doom. Doom. Sam put his ragged orc cloak under his master's head, and covered them both with the gray robe of Lorien. Sam put the ragged orc cloak under his master's head. Oh, because Frodo's a dead thing. And covered them both with the gray robe of Lorien. And as he did so, his thoughts went out to that fair land, and to the elves. And he hoped that the cloth woven by their hands might have some virtue to keep them hidden beyond all hope in this wilderness of fear. Wilderness of fear. He heard the scuffling and cries die down as the troops passed on through the Eisenmouth. It seemed that in the confusion and the mingling of many companies of various kinds, they had not been missed. They had not been missed. Oh, that's a weird sentence. Hold on. They had not been missed, not yet at any rate. So they're missed by the company. So like the company is missing them, rather than like they had not been missed, like someone passing by. And okay, that makes sense now. It seemed that in the confusion and the mingling of many companies of various kinds, they had not been missed, not yet at any rate. Okay, yeah, noticed. That makes sense. Sam took a sip of water, but pressed Frodo to drink. And when his master had recovered a little, he gave him a whole wafer of their precious whey bread, and made him eat it. Then, too worn out even to feel much fear, they stretched themselves out. They slept a little, in uneasy fits, for their sweat grew chill on them. Oh, it's the worst feeling. And the hard stones bit them, and they shivered. Out of the north, from the black gate through Cirith Gorgor, there flowed whispering along the ground a thin, cold air. Ugh. In the morning, a gray light came again. In the high regions, the west wind still blew. This is okay. I wrote a members essay a long time ago. I think I made it available for public. I wrote one on the idea of the west wind. The west wind is a really interesting concept. C.S. Lewis wrote a little bit about what the west wind in some of his literature. It seems like the west wind is like the wind of hope. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know much about it in literature, but I do know people in literature mention the west wind a bunch. It goes back to Greek tradition. I do remember that, actually. You're talking about Greek mythology, I think. Yeah, Michael, that's why I mentioned that in the essay too, because I love that. I love Till We Have Faces, and he mentioned something in that essay with the west wind blowing in the back of someone's face or in the back of someone's head or their neck or something. And that is when they believed in the myth or the gods. And that's when the gods materialize themselves to this person. It was a really interesting concept in that novel. Yeah, west wind is significant. Okay, let's keep reading. But down on the stones behind the fences of the Black Land, the air seemed almost dead. Chill and yet stifling. That's a weird. Chill and yet stifling. Sam looked up out of the hollow. The land all about was dreary, flat, and drab-hued. On the roads nearby, nothing was moving now, but Sam feared the watchful eyes of the wall of the Eisenmouth, no more than a furlong away northwards. Southeastward, far off like a dark standing shadow, loomed the mountain. So they're by the Eisenmouth. So they're a mile away from the Eisenmouth. We need a map. Sorry. We need a map. I have like 50 versions of this saved in my file somewhere, and I never know how to find it. I literally put it somewhere, and I'm like, I will remember where this is, and then nope, I don't remember where it is. We're almost there. There we are. Okay, so he goes in through the Eisenmouth, but they're going a little south of the Eisenmouth. Furlong is a fourth of a mile. Okay. Yeah, that is really close. Sheesh. Oh, I can't use metric. Okay, so that's interesting. So they're by the Eisenmouth. Are they going to take the road that goes east? We'll see. So lush is the range shadow effect? Part of why Mordor is so barren and Ithilien so lush when clouds can't get over the mountain? Is that what it is? Sarah! So bummed you're missing it, but come back later when you got time. Metric is soulless robot units. Okay, so no more than a furlong away northwards. South eastward. Far off, like a dark standing shadow, loomed the mountain. Smokes were pouring from it. And while those that rose into the upper air trailed away eastward, great rolling clouds floated down its sides and spread over the land. A few miles to the northeast, the foothills of the Ashen Mountains. A few miles to the northeast. So the Ashen Mountains. What's the other Minas? Gosh, why can't I think of this? Lithwi and Ered Lithwi, and what was the other one? Is Lithwi the one from the north? What is the mountain to the east? Ered Lithwi is to the north, and Efelduath, thank you, to the west. Thank you. That's exactly what I needed. Okay, so Lithwi, and I'm guessing that is the Ashen Mountain. The Ashen Mountains, the foothills of the Ashen Mountains. Stood like somber gray ghosts, behind which the misty northern heights rose like a line of distant cloud, hardly darker than the lowering sky. Efelduath is the Ash Mountains. I'm guessing that's what that said. Sam tried to guess the distances and to decide what way they ought to take. It looks every step of that 50 mile. Or it looks every step of 50 miles. Gosh, why can't I read today? He muttered gloomily, staring at the threatening mountain. And that'll take a week. if it takes a day with Mr. Frodo as he is. He shook his head, and as he worked things out, slowly a new dark thought grew in his mind. Never for long had hope died in his staunch heart, and always until now he had taken some thought for their return. But the bitter truth came home to him at last. I think this bitter truth is going to be no return journey, and this is when it's actually going to dawn on Sam. Sam's been lying about how that's been dawning on him, because I don't think it's ever really dawned on him that they weren't going to have food for the return journey. But the bitter truth came home to him at last. At best, their provision would take them to their goal. And when the task was done, there they would come to an end. Alone, houseless, foodless in the midst of a terrible desert. There could be no return. Ugh. Dang it, that's when it really hits him. So that was the job I felt I had to do when I started, thought Sam. To help Mr. Frodo to the last step and then die with him? Well, if that is the job, then I must do it. But I'd dearly like to see Bywater again. And Rosie Cotton. Rosie's mentioned. This is the first instance. Oh. Cecilia. I thought of you then, actually. No food. She's gone. This is the first mention that we have of any love interest of Sam at all, right? This is so interesting that all of a sudden he makes the stakes even higher because he throws Rosie into that. And so as a reader, you're going, because I mean, like, imagine knowing nothing about Rosie. And then all of a sudden he mentions Rosie Cotton and you're like, wait, does Sam have a crush? Wait, Rosie was in chapter 1, but is it mentioned that he had a thing that didn't it just mention that Rosie was the barkeeper? Maybe I was wrong about that. It implies it. Interesting. What's the exact line? Try if you can find that, that'd be great, because I would love to read that. Wait, she isn't a barmaid. What is she? What does she do? Oh, that's just the movies. Man, Rosie's family was mentioned too. Interesting. Implies it's not explicit. It was 19 half a year. Yeah, 19 and a half years ago. That's actually interesting. She's a farmer's daughter. Oh, okay. He wants to see and Rosie Cotton and her brothers and the gaffer and Marigold and all. Who's Marigold? I can't think somehow that Gandalf would have sent Mr. Frodo on this errand if there hadn't been any hope of his ever coming back at all. Things all went wrong when he went down in Moria. I wish he hadn't. Oh, he would have done something. This is even worse too. Rosie's sister. Oh, sorry, I don't remember Marigold. This is so sad too, because it's upping the stakes for the reader, where you're going, oh, he seems to have a love interest, and he wants to see his father, and he doesn't even know Gandalf is still alive, and he's gonna die knowing that Gandalf, or thinking that Gandalf is dead. Oh. I know, I gotta remember every detail of this. Oh. This is so sad. But even as hope died in Sam, or seemed to die, it was turned to a new strength. Sam's plain hobbit face grew stern, almost grim, as the will hardened in him, and he felt through all his limbs a thrill, as if he was turning into some creature of stone and steel that neither despair nor weariness nor endless barren miles could subdue. With a new sense of responsibility, he brought his eyes back to the ground near at hand, studying the next move. So this reminds me a little bit of okay, let's compare and contrast for a second. Sam puts on the ring, and I wrote an essay how he's like the most powerful being in Middle Earth when he puts that ring on, because he's stricken with grief for his love. But in this moment, I almost feel like he's stronger, the indomitable hobbit spirit for sure, that like nothing can hamper him on his journey now. Like he's hardened. He's made of stone and steel that neither despair nor weariness nor endless barren miles could subdue. I wonder if there's like some kind of clinical definition for this actually. Dane, thanks for the $10. As Tolkien has said, this is a Catholic work. This section makes me reflect on the path we walk as we follow Christ through a world of evil, but our mission is to preserve and defeat worldly evil. Interesting. There's a line in Game of Thrones that kind of reminds me of that a little bit. Like when when Beric and Jon are talking, death is the enemy, but everyone dies. The enemy always wins, but we still fight it every day or something like that. I botched that line, but it's a great concept for it. But this seems like a good comparison and contrast with him wearing the ring versus when he's just not out of hope, because he's not necessarily out of hope, because it says even as hope died in him or seemed to die, it was turned to a new strength, just like a resolve. Excited delirium. Yeah, acceptance. Legitimately. Apollo, that is actually fascinating. Fascinating. That is really fascinating. I would love to actually learn. Wait, let me look this up real quick. Sorry, we're not even off the first page yet. Stages of grief. How scientific are the stages of grief? Denial. Sam was in denial in the beginning. Then it turned to anger when he killed Shelob. Bargaining. He for sure bargained, probably. Depression, clearly. And then finally acceptance. And that is when he can actually be unstoppable. It's not scientific at all. They're pop psychology. Yeah, that's what I kind of had a feeling. But still, it's kind of cool. Maybe I'll write some kind of enemy in that, or some kind of essay on that. Ooh, Nemo, thank you. Death is the enemy, the first and the last. The enemy always wins, and we still need to fight him. That's a great line. One of the best in Game of Thrones. Also, everyone likes to stream. You know? This is a great... There's some essay in here somewhere. I don't know what it is yet. But there's an essay in there somewhere. Oh, I hate when the last page gives me that much room to write all my essay topics. I got to write really small. Sam's decision, I guess. Man. With a new sense of responsibility, he brought his eyes back to the ground near at hand, studying the next move. As the light grew a little, he saw to his surprise that what from a distance had seemed wide and featureless flats were all in fact broken and tumbled. Indeed, the whole surface of the plains of Gorgoroth was pocketed with great holes, as if, while it was still a waste of soft mud, it had been smitten with a shower of bolts and huge sling stones. The largest of these holes were rimmed with ridges of broken rock, and broad fissures ran out from them in all directions. It was a land in which it would be possible to creep from hiding to hiding, unseen by all but the most watchful eyes. Possible, at least, for one who was strong and had no need for speed. For the hungry and worn, who had far to go before life failed, it had an evil look. Thinking of all these things, Sam went back to his master. He had no need to rouse him. Frodo was lying on his back with eyes open, staring at the cloudy sky. Well, Mr. Frodo, said Sam, I've been having a look around and thinking a bit. There's nothing on the roads, and we'd best be getting away while there's a chance. Can you manage it? I can manage it, said Frodo. I must. Yet another reason why Frodo is the best character in this book. I love Frodo, but I do love Sam. I love every hobbit. Oh, the hobbits are the best, except for Lobelia. Once more they started, crawling from hollow to hollow, flitting behind such cover as they could find, but moving always in a slant toward the foothills of the northern range. But as they went, the most easterly of the roads followed them until it ran off, hugging the skirts of the mountains, away into a wall of black shadow far ahead. Neither man nor orc now moved along its flat gray stretches, for the Dark Lord had almost completed the movement of his forces, and even in the fastness of his own realm he sought the secrecy of night, fearing the winds of the world that had turned against him, tearing aside his veils, and troubled with tidings of bold spies that had passed through his fences. The hobbits had gone a few weary miles when they halted. Frodo seemed nearly spent. Sam saw that he could not go much further in his fashion. Crawling, stooping, now picking a doubtful way very slowly, now hurrying at a stumbling run. I'm going back onto the road while the light lasts, Mr. Frodo, he said. Trust to luck again. It nearly failed us last time, but it didn't quite. A steady pace for a few more miles, and then a rest. Man, this is a hell of a chapter. Stop ranking your children. Excuse me. Throat's got a little tickle. He was taking a far greater risk than he knew. But Frodo was too much occupied with his burden and with the struggle in his mind to debate, and almost too hopeless to care. They climbed onto the causeway and trudged along, down the hard, cruel road that led to the Dark Tower itself. But their luck held. And for the rest of that day, they met no living or moving thing. And when night fell, they vanished into the darkness of Mordor. All the land now brooded as at the coming of a great storm. For the captains of the West had passed the crossroads and set flames in the deadly fields of Imlad Morgai, or Morgul. I was just about to ask where they are. So, is everyone cleared and is everyone at the Eisenmouth now? You know what's interesting too? That Aragorn, obviously this is a wise move on Aragorn's part, but I thought more so they needed to get to the Black Gate, so it annoyed me that it took them 7 days. But now that I'm thinking about it, it's important that the Nazgul were flying above them and seeing them and reporting, so Sauron is probably moving his forces in unison as the other forces are going north. So they just needed to see him. That's why is that why they started the fire? I mean, they started the fire to burn those things and to try to purify the land. But was there another intent in starting the fire of, hey, we're coming? Which means that Aragorn should have gone. It should have taken him 2 weeks to get up there. It should have taken him way too long to get up there. Yeah, they're running out of distraction. So the diversion wasn't just that they get to the Black Gate. It was that they just slowly march up. We didn't start the fire. Interesting. That makes it like even cooler to me. So the desperate journey went on. As the ring went south and the banners of the kings rode north. For the hobbits, each day, each mile was more bitter than the one before, as their strength lessened and the land became more evil. They met no enemies by day. At times by night, as they cowered or drowsed uneasily in some hiding beside the road, they heard cries and the noise of many feet or the swift passing of some cruelly ridden steed. But far worse than all such perils was the ever-approaching threat that beat upon them as they went. The dreadful menace of the power that waited, brooding in deep thought and sleepless malice behind the dark veil about its throne. Nearer and nearer it drew, looming blacker, like the oncoming of a wall of night at the last end of the world. Ooh, gosh. It really is the idea of what, luck, how luck plays into the story. There came at last a dreadful nightfall. And even as the captains of the West drew near to the end of the living lands, the two wanderers came to an hour of blank despair. 4 days had passed since they had escaped from the orcs. But the time lay behind them like an ever-darkening dream. All this last day Frodo had not spoken, but had walked, half-bowed, often stumbling, as if his eyes no longer saw the way before his feet. Sam guessed that among all their pains he bore the worst, the growing weight of the ring, a burden on the body and a torment to his mind. Oh, Frodo. Anxiously, Sam had noted how his master's left hand would often be raised as if to ward off a blow, or to screen his shrinking eyes from a dreadful eye that sought to look in them. And sometimes his right hand would creep to his breast, clutching, and then slowly, as the will recovered mastery, it would be withdrawn. Oh, Frodo. This is so sad for what he goes through. I love him. And the will recovered mastery, it would be withdrawn. Ah, oh, Frodo. Now, as the blackness of night returned, Frodo sat, his head between his knees, his arms hanging wearily to the ground where his hands lay feebly twitching. Sam watched him till night. Sam watched him till night covered them both and hid them from one another. He could no longer find any words to say, and he turned to his own dark thoughts. As for himself, though weary and under a shadow of fear, he still had some strength left. The Lembas had a virtue without which they would long ago have lain down to die. It did not satisfy desire. And at times, Sam's mind was filled with the memories of food and the longing for simple bread and meats. And yet this way bread of the elves had a potency that increased as travelers relied on it alone and did not mingle it with other foods. It fed the will. And it gave strength to endure and to master sinew and limb beyond the measure of mortal kind. Whoa! That's so interesting. So it goes more than just filling the belly of a grown man or a grown elf. Interesting. Yeah, give me some Lembas cookies. Yeah, you have to disqualify the hobbits because they're caught doping. Come on, what the heck? It reminds you of manna God gave the Israelites in the wilderness. Interesting. Lembas is awesome stuff. Viaticum, food for the journey. Yeah, it's just the bread. The bread is the thing that wins in the end. Yeah, I'm definitely going to write an essay about Frodo suffering. I'm already brainstorming something like that. But I want to get through the whole chapter before we like actually write something down because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of Frodo suffering in this chapter. Interesting. This is crazy. How Lembas is essentially a PED. A little performance enhancing drug right now. That is actually crazy. Yeah. Who was that? Pippin that ate for? That dude is jacked right now. That's why he has the will. Because he was cramming them in his mouth. That is so fascinating. It says the rest of this paragraph, but now a new decision must be made. They could not follow this road any longer, for it went on eastward into the great shadow, but the mountain now loomed upon their right, almost due south, and they must turn towards it. Yet still before there it stretched a wide region of fuming. Barren, ash-ridden land. Man, Lembas is so interesting. The Mirivor is another really interesting comparison with that. The Mirivor and the Lembas seem to refer to the Eucharist. Interesting. Silmarillion tells how Galadriel learned how to make the Lembas. Interesting. That is actually so fascinating. I remember, Michael, wasn't it you that had a good Lembas recipe? I think you were talking about that a while ago. I needed a good Lembas and Mirivor. I think I saw that recipe for your Lembas, and I gotta make some. After I finish my read through all of Lord of the Rings, I'm gonna make some Lembas. Maybe I'll make a cooking video how to make Lembas. That would actually be so fun. All right, let's keep going. Water, water, muttered Sam. He had stinted himself, and in his parched mouth his tongue seemed thick and swollen. But for all his care, there's like a little, not a typo, but like a missed line here in my E. But for all his care, they now had very little left, perhaps half his bottle. And maybe there was still days to go. All would long ago have been spent if they had not dared to follow the Orc road. For at long intervals on that highway, cisterns had been built for the use of troops sent in haste through the waterless regions. In one, Sam had found some water left. Stale, muddied by the orcs, but still sufficient for their desperate case. Yet that was now a day ago. There was no hope of any more. At last, wearied with his cares, Sam drowsed, leaving the morrow till it came. He could do no more. Dream and waking mingled uneasily. He saw lights, like gloating eyes, and dark creeping shapes. And he heard noises as of wild beasts or dreadful cries of tortured things. And he would start up to find the world all dark and only empty blackness all about him. Once only, as he stood and stared wildly around, Did it seem that, though now awake, he could still see pale lights like eyes? But soon they flickered and vanished. Dang, crazy. Little Gollum just creeping behind them. Now, what is the logic of Gollum here? Why doesn't Gollum kill them here? Why is Gollum waiting? Fate. That's my answer for that question. That's my answer. Fireball is not a substitute for the Mirrorvore, but it is for the Orc-mate stuff. Well, it's the same thing. Yeah, logic is addicted mind has none. For sure. That is really the answer. He fears Sting. Interesting. That makes sense. That makes more sense. It is 2 versus 1, but if he sees Frodo literally like an old man and Sam is now struggling too. If I'm Gollum, I'm going, I could take both of them. He made an oath. Oh, an oath. That's right. Interesting. But he can still rip. Yeah, I got to read and find out. I feel like there's an essay there, though. Hold on 1 second. I got to burp before I keep reading. Excuse me. The hateful night passed slowly and reluctantly. Such daylight as followed was dim. For here, as the mountain drew near, the air was ever murky, while out from the dark tower there crept the veils of shadow that Sauron wove about himself. Frodo was lying on his back, not moving. Sam stood beside him, reluctant to speak, and yet knowing that the word now lay with him. He must set his master's will to work for another effort. At length, stooping and caressing Frodo's brow, he spoke in his ear. "Wake up, master," he said. "Time for another start." As if roused by a sudden bell, Frodo quickly rose and stood up and looked away southwards. But when his eyes beheld the mountain and the desert, he quailed again. He became a quail yet again? Now Frodo. Oh no. I can manage it, Sam, he said. Or I can't manage it, Sam, he said. It's such a weight to carry. Such a weight. Sam knew before he spoke that it was in vain, and that such words might do more harm than good. But in his pity, he could not keep silent. Then let me carry it a bit for you, master, he said. You know I would, and gladly, as long as I have any strength. A wild light came into Frodo's eyes. Stand away, don't touch me, he cried. It is mine, I say, be off. His hand stayed to his sword hilt. But then quickly his voice changed. No, Sam, he said sadly, but you must understand, it is my burden, and no one else can bear it. It is too late now, Sam, dear. You can't help me in that way. I am almost in its power now. I could not give it up. And if you tried to take it, I should go mad. Oh, this is so sad. Man. Sam nodded. Ooh, does Sam carry Frodo? We'll see. Sam nodded. I understand, he said, but I've been thinking, Mr. Frodo, there's other things we might do without. Why not lighten the load a bit? We're going that way now, as straight as we can make it. He pointed to the mountain. It's no good taking anything we're not sure to need. Frodo looked again toward the mountain. No, he said. We shan't need much on that road. And at its end, nothing. Picking up his orc shield, he flung it away and threw his helmet after it. Then, pulling off the grey cloak, he undid the heavy belt and let it fall to the ground, and the sheathed sword with it. The shreds of the black cloak he tore off and scattered. There. I'll be an orc no more, he cried. And I'll bear no weapon, fair or foul. Let them take me if they will. Sam did likewise. Oh, Frodo's lines in this chapter are crushing. Sam did likewise and put aside his orc gear. And he took out all the things in his pack. Somehow each of them had become dear to him, if only because he had borne them so far with so much toil. If he... You know what honestly would happen? He was given the promise by the ring that all of Gorgoroth would become a garden. Sam should take the dirt. I mean, he really needs to take that dirt and go home to his own garden. But take that dirt and just scatter it in Mordor. That thing would sprout immediately. Well, maybe not immediately, but there's... Yeah, that'd be... Yeah. I don't think he should do that because it's dirt. Keep it in his pocket. He needs to keep that thing. That is like the most important thing that's in his possession. Somehow each of them had become dear to him, if only because he had borne them so far with so much toil. Hardest of all, it was to part with his cooking gear. Tears welled in his eyes at the thought of casting it away. Do you remember that bit of rabbit, Mr. Frodo? He said. And our place under the warm bank in Captain Faramir's country. The day I saw an Oliphant. No, I'm afraid not, Sam, said Frodo. At least, I know that such things happen, but I cannot see them. No taste of food, no feel of water, no sound of wind, no memory of tree or grass or flower, no image of moon or stars are left to me. I am naked in the dark, Sam, and there's no veil between me and the wheel of fire. I begin to see it even with my waking eyes, and all else fades. Sam went to him and kissed his hand. Then the sooner we rid of it, the sooner to rest, he said haltingly, finding no better words to say. Taking won't mend nothing, he muttered to himself, as he gathered up all the things that they had chosen to cast away. He was not willing to leave them lying open in the wilderness for any eyes to see. Stinker picked up that orc shirt, seemingly. And he isn't going to add a sword to it. His hands are bad enough when empty. And he isn't going to mess with my pans. With that, he carried all the gear away to one of the many gaping fissures that scored the land and threw them in. The clatter of his precious pans as they fell down into the dark was like a death knell in his heart. You know what they should do as soon as if they get rescued by the eagles? I hope they get rescued by the eagles. That's my guess. The eagle should come down and grab the pots and pans for Sam too. That's what the third eagle should do. Come on, go rescue those pots and pans. Also, everyone liked the stream. You guys know the deal. Sam is frying pans like Rapunzel. It really is so true. Sam's precious pans. He that cannot cast away a precious thing at need is in fetters. Aragorn said that. That's interesting. Does he say that in the Strider chapter? When does he say that? Also, Frodo advised PJ on the movie stew, saying he didn't remember eating it. What do you mean? He still kept the gift of Galadriel. He better. All right, let's keep reading. This is really, really tragic. He came back to Frodo, and then of his elven rope he cut a short piece to serve his master as a girdle, and bind the gray cloak close about his waist. The rest he carefully coiled and put back in his pack. Aside that, he kept only the remnants of their whey bread in the water bottle, and Sting still hanging by his belt, and hidden away in a pocket of his tunic next his next his breast the phial of Gladriel and the little box that she gave him for his own. Man, that's beautiful. Oh, little joke. Oh, because they didn't eat the stew in the movie. That drives me crazy. Sorry, I didn't even get the own joke that was the thing I needed. He's putting Frodo on a griddle. Yeah, that's so funny. He's really, really hungry, guys. Also, Michael, thanks for the $10. I really appreciate you. You're one of the number one fans. Thank you. Appreciate that. I didn't even get my own joke. Yeah, he's got to keep the dirt box, the jar of dirt. Now at last, they turned their faces to the mountain and set out, thinking no more of concealment, bending their weariness, and failing wills only to one task of going. In the dimness of its dreary day, few things even in that land of vigilance could have espied them, save from close at hand. Of all the slaves of the Dark Lord, only Nazgul could have warned him of the peril that crept, small but indomitable, into the very hearts of his guarded realm. But the Nazgul and their black wings were abroad on other errand. They were gathered far away, shadowing the march of the captains of the West, and thither the thought of the Dark Tower was turned. That day it seemed to Sam that his master had found some new strength, more than could be explained by the small lightening of the load that he had to carry. In the first marches they went further and faster than he had hoped. The land was rough and hostile, and yet they made much progress. And ever the mountain drew near. But as the day wore on, and all too soon the dim light began to fail, Frodo stooped again and began to stagger, as if the renewed effort had squandered his remaining strength. At last, at their last halt, he sank down again and said, "I'm thirsty, Sam," and did not speak again. Sam gave him a mouthful of water. Only one more mouthful remained. He went without himself. And now, as once more the night of Mordor closed over them, through all his thought there came the memories of water, and every brook or stream or fount that he had ever seen under green willow shades or twinkling in the sun danced and rippled for his torment behind the blindness of his eyes. He felt the cool mud about his toes as he paddled in the pools at Bywater with Jolly Cotton and Tom and Nibs and their sister Rosie. So Sam's just like part of the family. But that was years ago, he sighed. And far away. The way back, if there is one, goes past the mountain. I know, I need a nice crisp ale from the Green Dragon. Green Dragon. Oh, man. Hey, J-Chap, thanks. Appreciate it. I'm glad you like it. Hang out while we read an absolutely tragic chapter right now. This is a tough read. Man. It took a week from Cirith Ungol to Mount Doom. Dang. The way back, if there is one, goes past the mountain. He could not sleep, and he held a debate with himself. Well, come now. We've done better than you hoped, he said sturdily. Began well, anyway. I reckon we crossed half the distance before we stopped. One more day will do it. And then he paused. Don't be a fool, Sam Gamgee, came an answer in his own voice. He won't go another day like that, if he moves at all. And you can't go on much longer, giving him all the water and most of the food. I can't go on a good way, though. Sorry. I can go on a good way, though, and I will. So is this Sam having a conversation with himself? Where to? Came an answer in his own voice. He won't go another day like that if he moves at all. And you can't go on much longer, giving him all the water and most of the food. I can go on a good way, though, and I will. Where to? To the mountain, of course. But what then, Sam Gamgee? What then? When you get there, what are you going to do? He won't be able to do anything for himself. This is like the Gollum conversation. Huh. The fat one can last. The fat one has reserves, only needs water. You can visit both places in Lord of the Rings Online. That's incredible. This is really interesting. This is like the moment that Sam becomes Frodo, or Sam becomes Gollum. There's an essay in there. The very thing that he fears and he hates, he's becoming. Sam should let Frodo eat him. That is great. Aquila, enjoy your tea. Man, this is tragic. Sam having a conversation with himself, becoming like Gollum. What would Sam's alter ego name be? We have Gollum and Smeagol. This one would be Sam and the fat one. The fat hobbit. That's his alter ego. To his dismay, Sam realized that he had not gotten an answer to this. It's interesting because this is like legitimate conversation in his head. Is Sam going like schizophrenic? He had no clear idea at all. Frodo had not spoken much to him of his errand, and Sam only knew vaguely that the ring had somehow to be put into the fire. The cracks of doom, he muttered, the old name rising to his mind. Well, if Master knows how to find them, I don't. There you are, came the answer. It's all quite useless, he said to himself. He said so himself. You are the fool, going on hoping and toiling. You could have lain down and got to sleep together days ago, if you hadn't been so dogged. But you'll die just the same, or worse. You might just as well lie down now and give it up. You'll never get to the top anyway. This is crazy. Sam having a full-on battle with himself. Sam and Sam Alum. Sam and Wise. I like that. Donner, Sam and Sam. It's just Sam and Sam for sure. That's what it is. Sam and Quail. I like that. Samwise and Halfwit. Ooh, I kind of like that. The duck and the quail. Yeah, for sure. I know this is internal dialogue, but it's like before Gollum was Gollum and Smeagol, he was probably having the same internal dialogue, and then he just decided to become these Sam and Gam. That's great. Yeah, this is his most Gollum-like moment for sure. He's nothing like Gollum, but the closer that he gets to Mount Doom, the closer or the more he becomes like him. I'm sure he's gonna have a moment of triumph over this. I'm hoping. And it's crazy that it's tempting him. It's like the rational part of his brain and like the enduring part of his brain. The rational part of his brain is going, you could have just died with someone that you love laying next to them a week ago. And then the endurant is like, I can't. I have to keep going and help Frodo. I'll get there if I leave everything but my bones behind, said Sam. And I'll carry Mr. Frodo up myself if it breaks my back and heart So stop arguing. At that moment, Sam felt a tremor in the ground beneath him, and he heard or sensed a deep remote rumble as of thunder imprisoned under the earth. There was a brief red flame that flickered under the clouds and died away. The mountain, too, slept uneasily. Interesting. In JChat, honestly, legitimately, the difference between crazy and internal dialogue is probably saying it out loud or not. Although you can say it out loud to yourself. You do that all the time. This is interesting. I know that is obviously Mount Doom rumbling, but it's interesting that it rumbled at that moment. I feel like there's something important behind that, but I don't know what yet. Maybe I'll make up some theory. When the mountain, Sam made the mountain rumble. That's like my headcanon right now. I don't know what, but maybe it has just absolute and utter resolve. The mountain was like, ooh. The mountain had little like goosebumps. And that made the mountain toot a little bit. Yeah, Mountain Doom can feel doom is coming. Legitimately. That's such a good way to put it. I actually love that. I'm going to write that down. I might steal that from you. This is almost like maybe the essay is going to be when Mountain Doom was afraid of Sam. I put Mountain Doom feels Sam coming. Okay, let me write actually this down at the end where my essays are. Afraid of Sam. It's kind of a cool literary idea. Like, it felt way too coincidental. Mountain Doom is just hungry. Honestly, it needs a ring. Every so often, it just needs a ring to eat. The last stage of their journey to Orodruin came, and it was a torment greater than Sam had ever thought that he could bear. He was in pain, and so parched that he could no longer swallow even a mouthful of food. It remained dark, not only because of the smokes of the mountain, there seemed to be a storm coming up. And away to the southeast, there was a shimmer of lightnings under the black skies. Worst of all, the air was full of fumes. Breathing was painful and difficult, and a dizziness came on them, so that they staggered and often fell, and yet their wills did not yield, and they struggled on. Oh, I love these two hobbits. They're like becoming one and the same. And yet their wills did not yield, and they struggled on. Man, this is brutal. The mountain, excuse me, the mountain crept up ever nearer until, if they lifted their heavy heads, it filled all their sight, looming vast before them, a huge mass of ash and slag and burned stone, out of which a sheer-sided cone was raised into the clouds. Before the day-long dusk ended and the true night came again, they had crawled and stumbled to its very feet. That sentence actually hurts my heart a little bit. Before the day-long dusk ended, and the true night came again, they had crawled and stumbled to its very feet. With a gasp, Frodo cast himself on the ground. Sam sat by him. To his surprise, he felt tired, but lighter, and his head seemed clear again. No more debates disturbed his mind. He knew all the arguments of despair and would not listen to them. His will was set, and only death would break it. Oh. There are so many good lines in this chapter. His will was set, and only death would break it. He felt no longer either desire or need of sleep, but rather of watchfulness. He knew that all the hazards and perils were now drawing together to a point. The next day would be a day of doom, the day of final effort or disaster, the last gasp. What heavy writing. I feel like feverish right here. Oh. But when would it come? The night seemed endless and timeless. Minute after minute, falling dead and adding up to no passing hour, bringing no change. Sam began to wonder if a second darkness had begun, and no day would ever reappear. At last he groped for Frodo's hand. It was cold and trembling. His master was shivering. "I didn't ought to leave my blanket behind," muttered Sam. And lying down, he tried to comfort Frodo with his arms and body. Then sleep took him, and the dim light of the last day of their quest found them side by side. The wind had fallen the day before as it shifted from the west, and now it came from north and began to rise. And slowly the light of the unseen sun filtered down into the shadows where the hobbits lay. It's still there. The sun is still out there. Come on. They're all right. I'm beginning to feel pangs of deep sadness at the finishing of this. One of my friends, she's like one of the biggest Harry Potter fans that I know. She read through Harry Potter, and when the last book came out, she told me that she would read a paragraph and she'd have to walk away and take like a 15-minute break because she was just so overwrought with emotions and so sad. And I feel that to some extent. I am there's too much weight in this chapter. Like, we're just walking through Mordor, and it's like their thoughts are just tormenting them. It's like the worst kind of prison to be in. And it's just so heavy. You've read Lord of the Rings many times, but never have reread the last chapters. That's so interesting. That is so interesting. All right, let's keep reading. Now for it. Now for the last gasp, said Sam as he struggled to his feet. He bent over Frodo, rousing him gently. Frodo groaned, but with a great effort of his will, he staggered up. And then he fell upon his knees again. He raised his eyes with difficulty above the dark slopes of Mount Doom towering above him. And then pitifully, he began to crawl forward on his hands. Sam looked at him and wept in his heart, but no tears came to his dry and stinging eyes. I said I'd carry him. If it broke my back, he muttered. And I will. It's interesting. It's like his His body literally cannot produce tears. He's crying in his heart, and his body is like, sorry, you have no more water left in you. Mm. Randy and Monsters Inc. It's a great reference right there. Also, everyone liked the stream. Everyone like the stream. Just one little click. Winning against Sauron kickstarts the final decline of the elves. Sam wept in his heart, but no tears came to his dry, singing eyes. It's a brutal. There's so many brutal lines in this chapter. Come, Mr. Frodo, he cried. I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you, and it as well. So up you get. Come on, Mr. Frodo, dear. Sam will give you a ride. Just tell him where to go, and he'll go. As Frodo clung upon his back, arms loosely about his neck, legs clasped firmly under his arms, Sam staggered to his feet. And then to his amazement, he felt the burden light. He had feared that he would have barely strength to lift his master alone. And beyond that, he had expected to share in the dreadful dragging weight of the accursed ring. But it was not so. Whether because Frodo was so worn out by his long pains, wound of knife and venomous sting, and sorrow, fear, and homeless wandering, or because some gift of final strength was given to him. Sam lifted Frodo with no more difficulty than if he were carrying a hobbit child, piggyback, in some romp on the lawns or hayfields of the Shire. He took a deep breath and started off. This is so brutal. I love that idea that he's doing this, and it's like it was some gift of final strength that was given to him. Or because of some gift of final strength was given to him. The final gift of Sam. This is so sad. Tolkien Rants, it's a great question. Just tie it around like a little mouse and carry the mouse. In the movie, it seems like she struggles with the decision when Frodo offers her the ring. Oh, is that Galadriel, I'm guessing? All right, let's keep reading. He took a deep breath and started off. They had reached the mountain's foot on its northern side, and a little to the westward. There its long gray slopes, though broken, were not sheer. Frodo did not speak, and so Sam struggled on as best he could, having no guidance but the will to climb as high as he might before his strength gave out, and his will broke. On he toiled, up and up, turning this way and that to lessen the slope, often stumbling forward, and at the last crawling like a snail with a heavy burden on its back. When his will could drive him no further and his limbs gave way, he stopped and laid his master gently down. Frodo opened his eyes and drew a breath. It was easier to breathe up here above the reeks that coiled and drifted down below. "Thank you, Sam," he said in a cracked whisper. "How far is there to go?" "I don't know," said Sam, "because I don't know where we're going." Oh, gosh. He looked back, and then he looked up, and he was amazed to see how far his last efforts had brought him. The mountain, standing ominous and alone, had looked taller than it was. Sam now saw that it was less lofty than the high passes of the Ephel-Duath, which he and Frodo had scaled. The confused and tumbled shoulders of its great base rose for maybe 3,000 feet above the plain, and above them was reared half as high again its tall central cone, like a vast oast. Like a vast oast. What's an oast? Rest in peace, cooking pans are with Pippin now. No! O-A-S-T, a type of kiln? O-A-S-T. Like a vast oast or chimney capped with a jagged crater. Or a jagged crater. Hop drying building at last. For malt. Interesting. An oven, like a kiln. Huh, interesting. Oastless. But already Sam was more than halfway up the base, and the plain of Gorgoroth was dim below him, wrapped in fume and shadow. As he looked up, he would have given a shout, if his parched throat had allowed him. For amid the rugged humps and shoulders above him, he saw plainly a path or road. It climbed like a rising girdle from the west and wound snake-like about the mountain, until before it went round out of view and it reached the foot of the cone upon its eastern side. Sam could not see the course immediately above him, where it was lowest, for a steep slope went up from where he stood. But he guessed that if he could only struggle on just a little way further up, they would strike this path. A gleam of hope returned to him. They might conquer the mountain yet. Why, it might have been put there a purpose, he said to himself. If it wasn't there, I'd have to say I was beaten in the end. The path was not put there for the purpose of Sam's. He did not know it, but he was looking at Sauron's road from Barad-dûr to Samath Nor, the Chambers of Fire. Huh. Samath Nar. Samath Nar? Na'ur. Samath Na'ur. Na'or? Na'or? Or Na'ur? Na'or. I'm going to go Na'or. Na'ur. Samath Na'ur. Na'or. I really do struggle with use. Nor. Samath Nor. Sauron's an Aussie. That's why they filmed it in New Zealand. Because all these Australians and New Zealand expressions. The Chambers of Fire. That sounds like a Harry Potter book. The Chambers, instead of the Chambers of Secret. The Chambers of Fire. Frodo Baggins and the Chambers of Secret. Or the Chambers of Fire. Out from the dark tower's huge western gate, it came over a deep abyss by a vast bridge of iron. And then passing into the plain, it ran for a league between two smoking chasms. That's terrifying. And so, reaching a long sloping causeway that led up the mountain's eastern side, thence turning and encircling all its wide girth from south to north, it climbed at last higher in the upper cone, but still far from the reeking summit. To a dark entrance that gazed back east straight to the window of the eye in Sauron's shadow-mantled fortress. Often blocked or destroyed by the tumults of the mountain's furnaces, always that road was repaired and cleared again by the labors of countless orcs. Interesting. Hour, sour, and dour. I'm just kidding. Hour. Nour. Sameth Nour. Samantha Noor. Sam drew a deep breath. There was a path, but how he was to get up the slope to it, he did not know. First, he must ease his aching back. He lay flat beside Frodo for a while. Neither spoke. Slowly, the light grew. Suddenly, a sense of urgency which he did not understand came to Sam. It was almost as if he had been called. Now, or it will be too late. He braced himself and got up. There is so much providence on this journey. This is crazy to me. This to me seems like, again, I don't know anything about the god or gods of Middle-earth. I know Eru Ilúvatar, right? But there seems to be other gods of Middle-earth, maybe not, lesser angels or whatever. This feels like Eru Ilúvatar, let's just say that because that's the only name I really know, is like, go now. This is your last chance. Just seems like everything is so providentially guided here. He braced himself and got up. Frodo also seemed to have felt the call. He struggled to his knees. That's crazy. That's so cool. There's a Providence essay coming in this. Man. It might be Gandalf on the eagles above them. Fly, you fools. What does he say when he's above Amon Hen? Take off the ring, you dummy. I'll crawl, Sam, he gasped. So foot by foot, like small gray insects, they crept up the slope. They came to the path and found that it was broad, paved with broken rubble and beaten ash. Frodo clambered onto it, and then moved as if by some compulsion he turned slowly to face the east. Far off the shadows of Sauron hung, but torn by some gust of wind out of the world, or else moved by some great disquiet within. The mantling clouds swirled, and for a moment drew aside, and then he saw a rising blacker and darker than the vast shades amid which it stood, the cruel pinnacles and iron crown of the topmost tower of Barad-dûr. One moment only it stared out, but as from some great window immeasurably high there stabbed northward a flame of red, the flicker of a piercing eye. And then the shadows were... Sorry, my dog's scratching his ear, making some weird noises over there. And then the shadows were furled again. So this is where they get the red eye. Did they just misread that? Because to me, that's like they put the emblem of Sauron on top of the tower. That's like the flag is flying. And then the shadows were furled again, and the terrible vision was removed. The eye was not turned to them. It was gazing north, to where the captains of the west stood at bay. And thither, all its malice was now bent. as the power moved to strike its deadly blow. But Frodo, at that dreadful glimpse, fell as one stricken mortally. His hand sought the chain about his neck. Interesting. Yeah, the other window that's kind of flickered with light too. It's almost like there's just like a light in the topmost tower, but there's not like an actual eye. But this is the moment too where Frodo like falls down and like caves like a Raggedy Ann. Or what are those toys that you touch the bottom button and like they stand up stiff and then you take your finger off and they just collapse? What are those things called? Also, there are so many things in my head that and there are so many scenes in Lord of the Rings that feel like a Renaissance painting. No, sorry, I don't know what those things are called. I'll look it up and throw it in the Discord or something like that. If anybody wants to join the Discord, you can. Let me paste the link. There's a window. I don't know. I just thought it might be a flag. Maybe it's not a flag. I just thought like a flag with the sigil on it of Sauron's eye. This idea of like the little Renaissance painting, to me it seems like you have like almost this whole angelic host around Frodo and Sam right now, like urging them on. Like I want someone to paint that in my head, because right now I see them like heading onto the road and they're like both dead, and you see like literally this is like the creation of man, where like God is like stretching out his hand so far and trying to do everything, and Adam's just like let me point my finger out there. Like I think he's really, this just feels like a Renaissance painting in my head. You're just here for dog sightings. Wait, there's a light over at the Frankenstein place. Huh? I'm avoiding thinking about the Palantiri for some reason. What do you mean? What happened with the Palantir? Oh, Denethor had the light at the top of the tower. There's a light at the top of Cirith Ungol. Maybe the light of the Palantir. Interesting. That never struck me. So he's just like watching a movie. I can imagine like, you know, like when you walk by someone's house when it's dark and they have a TV glowing and you just see like the lights on the walls. That's what I feel like Sam or Frodo and Sam are seeing. They're just seeing Sauron clicking through the channels. He's like, what's happening in the Orthanc stone? Oh my gosh, this is crazy. That's my rough interpretation of that. I haven't seen Rocky Horror. Horror scares me. Sauron definitely has a Netflix account. All right, let's keep reading. Where did I finish? Malice is now bent, the power moving to strike at its deadly blow, but Frodo, at the dreadful glimpse, fell as one stricken mortally. His hand sought the chain about his neck. Sam knelt by him. Prime Video, because they own him now. Yeah, that's true. Sam knelt by him. Faint. Almost inaudibly, he heard Frodo whispering, "Help me, Sam. Help me, Sam. Hold my hand. I can't stop it." Sam took his master's hand and laid them together, palm to palm, and kissed them. And then he held them gently between his own. The thought came suddenly to him. He spotted us. It's all up. Or it will soon be. Or it soon will be. Now, Sam Gamgee, this is the end of ends. Again, he lifted Frodo and drew his hand down to his own breast, letting his master's legs dangle. Then he bowed his head and struggled off along, climbing the road. It was not as easy a way to take as it had looked at first. By fortune, the fires that had poured forth in the great turmoils when Sam stood upon Cirith Ungol had flowed down mainly on the southern and western slopes, and the road on this side was not blocked. Yet in many places it had crumbled away or was crossed by gaping rents. After climbing eastward for some time, it bent back upon itself at a sharp angle and went westward for a space. There at the bend, it was cut deep through a crag of old weathered stones, once long ago vomited from the mountain's furnaces. Panting under his load, Sam turned to the bend, and even as he did so, out of the corner of his eye, he had a glimpse of something falling from the crag, like a small piece of black stone that had toppled off as he passed. A sudden weight smote him, and he crashed forward, tearing the back of his hands that still clasped his master's. Then he knew what had happened. For above him, as he lay, he heard a hated voice. Oh, gosh. Wicked masters, it hissed. Wicked master cheats us. Cheats Smeagol. Gollum. He mustn't go that way. He mustn't hurt Precious. Give it to Smeagol. Yes, give it to us. Give it to us. With a violent heave, Sam rose up. At once he drew his sword, but he could do nothing. Gollum and Frodo were locked together. Gollum was tearing at his master, trying to get at the chain and the ring. This was probably the only thing that could have roused the dying embers of Frodo's heart and will. An attack, an attempt to wrestle his treasure from him by force. He fought back with a sudden fury that amazed Sam. And Gollum also. Even so, things might have gone far otherwise if Gollum himself had remained unchanged. But whatever dreadful paths, lonely and hungry and waterless, he had trodden, driven by a devouring desire with a terrible fear, they had left grievous marks on him. He was a lean, starved, haggard thing, all bones and tight-drawn, sallow skin. A wild light flamed in his eyes. But his malice was no longer matched by his old gripping strength. Frodo flung him off and rose up quivering. Down, down, he gasped, clutching his hand to his breast, so that beneath the cover of his leather shirt he clasped the ring. Down, you creeping thing, and out of my path. Your time is at an end. You cannot betray me or slay me now. He attack, he protect. He get his ring back. Freaking hate Stinker. Then suddenly, as before under the eaves of the Emyn Muil, Sam saw these two rivals with other vision. A crouching shape, scarcely more than a shadow of the living thing. A creature now wholly ruined and defeated, yet filled with a hideous lust and rage. And before it stood stern, untouchable, now by pity, a figure robed in white. But at its breast it held a wheel of fire. Out of the fire there spoke a commanding voice. What the heck? Be gone and trouble me no more. If you ever touch me again, you shall be cast yourself into the fire of doom. Whoa. Okay, I want to. I don't know if I'm wrong about this. Wait, let me finish this section, then I want to talk about this. Because this is wild to me. The crouching shape backed away, terror in its blinking eyes, and yet at the same time insatiable desire. Then the vision passed, and Sam saw Frodo standing, hand on breast, his breath coming in great gasps, and Gollum at his feet, resting on his knees with his wide splayed hands upon the ground. "Look out!" cried Sam. "He'll spring." He stepped forward, brandishing his sword. "Quick, master," he gasped on. Go on. No time to lose. I'll deal with him. Go on." Frodo looked at him as if at one now far away. "Yes, I must go on," he said. "Farewell, Sam. This is the end at last. On Mount Doom shall fail, or on Mount Doom shall fall. Farewell." He turned and went on, walking slowly but erect up the climbing path. This would be devastating too. Okay, this is what I think about this line. Frodo does not talk like that. One thing that Tolkien is very good at is dialogue. And when a character speaks, you kind of know what they say based on the dialogue that they use. "Be gone and trouble me no more. If you touch me ever again, you shall be cast yourself into the fire of doom." Doesn't feel like something that Frodo would say. So, options. Is this a deity speaking through Frodo? Is this the ring finally having the ability to have a voice? Yeah, is the ring talking? Okay, now I'm going to look at all your guys' theories. Sam's having a vision, but it feels like this, like he's seeing the spiritual realm here. And that, to me, that's why it doesn't feel necessarily like the ring. It feels more like a deity who's like guiding and like, maybe, I don't know. But if you touch me ever again. So this is the ring talking. This is crazy. Frodo is using the ring here. Interesting. The voice of the ring speaks in casting spells. Yeah, Frodo is ascending to another level for sure. The ring is also jinxing itself. Oh, interesting. It's like a little prophecy. That's so cool. I'm so curious if we're going to actually get the destruction of the ring in the next 2 pages. Or if we're going to be caught hanging. That is actually so cool. It's the ring speaking through Frodo. Eru does not interfere in Middle-earth. That's interesting because I don't know that idea. So it makes sense, but if there's any way to interfere on Earth at any moment in all of Middle-earth, it would probably be this one, no? Hello, Wes. You're ready for your scheduled walk, huh? 2 more pages, buddy. It'll be 2 more hours, don't worry. This is such an interesting section. There's definitely an essay in here. Sam's vision is wild. Sam's vision. Hey Wes, what's up, buddy? You're so handsome. You're so cute, buddy. Suffering. This is crazy. So You're this is Frodo. Hold on. The vision passed and Sam saw Frodo standing, hand on breast. To me, that's not Frodo using the ring. Is that like a read and find out moment? Like, I don't think he has the ring on. Yeah, so it's Frodo speaking and the ring's perverting him, for sure. That's kind of the theory that I take, or the idea that I take. I don't know if it's a theory. I don't know if that's standard. But I don't see it as, think of it as Frodo speaking using the ring as an amplifier. Interesting. I know. I'll get to the book in a second. But I just like theorizing. This is what everyone's here for. Just sitting and theorizing before we actually get to the truth of the matter in the book. This is so crazy. The ring itself is speaking. Interesting. Yeah, he was holding the ring. He didn't put the ring on. That's the only thing that I think. He was holding it at his breast. Maybe it was off the chain. Maybe it was. I don't know. I'll come back to that though. Let's read. If anybody can hear my dog chomps, he's having a little early dinner, a little late lunch, a little early dinner. He's having a little dinner. Hey, what you doing, bud? All right, let's keep reading. Sometimes it's so hard to read with my dog chomping. It's like, I don't know why. Yeah, Wes wants some Lembas right now. Oh yeah, everyone, like the stream. Hunt, thanks. You're here for tears. Might happen. Now, said Sam, at last I can deal with you. He leaped forward with drawn blade ready for battle. But Gollum did not spring. He fell flat upon the ground and whimpered. Don't kill us, he wept. Don't hurt us with nasty, cruel steel. Let us live, yes, live just a little longer. Lost. We're lost. And when Precious goes, we'll die, yes, die into the dust. He crawled up the ashes in the path with his long, fleshless fingers. Dust, he hissed. Sam's hand wavered. When Gollum reaches out his hand, in the end of the Two Towers, does it say that Gollum wavered? Why do I have some deja vu with wavered? I gotta come back to that. There's a section that he wavered. Where is the idea of him wavering? On the stairs of Cirith Ungol. Does it say when he reached out his hand wavered? I know I'm at the climax, but I have these questions, guys. This is how I read. Okay, we'll come back to that. But I want to know. I want to know everything. Let me just circle this and we'll come back. Let me take a note. His mind was hot with wrath and the memory of evil. It would be just to slay this creature. Murderous creature. Just and many times deserved. And also, it seemed the only safe thing to do. But deep in his heart, there was something that restrained him. He could not strike this thing lying in the dust, forlorn, ruinous, utterly wretched. He himself thought, though only for a little while, had borne the ring. And now dimly he guessed the agony of Gollum's shriveled mind and body, enslaved to that ring, unable to find peace or relief ever in life again. But Sam had no words to express what he felt. "Oh, curse you, you stinking thing," he said. "Go away, be off, I don't trust you. Not as far as I could kick you, but be off or I shall hurt you. Yes, with nasty, cruel steel." Gollum got up on all fours and backed away for several paces. That's weird that he gets up on all fours. I don't know why that's so weird to me, but that is weird. There's something in there. And backed away for several paces. And then he turned. And as Sam aimed a kick at him, he fled away down the path. Sam gave no more heed of him. He suddenly remembered his master. He looked up the path and could not see him. As fast as he could, he trudged up the road. If he had looked back, he might have seen not far below Gollum turn again. And then, with a wild light of madness glaring in his eyes, come, swiftly but warily, creeping on behind, a slinking shadow among the stones. I know it says he got up on all fours, not that he was on all fours. So he gets up on his hind 2 feet. That's what I was thinking. Like he's walking like a hobbit again. Thanks, Lemmy. I appreciate it. The path climbed on. Soon it bent again, and with a last eastward course passed in a cutting along the face of the cone and came to the dark door in the mountainside. The door of Sammath Naur. Far away, now rising toward the south, the sun, piercing the smoke and haze, burned ominous, a dull, bleared disk of red. But all Mordor lay about the mountain, like a dead land, silent, shadow-folded, waiting for some dreadful stroke. Sam came to the gaping mouth and peered in. It was dark and hot, and a deep rumbling shook the air. "Frodo! Master!" he called. There was no answer. For a moment he stood, his heart beating with wild fears, and then he plunged in. A shadow followed him. Freaking... At first he could see nothing. In his great need, he drew out once more the phial of Galadriel, but it was pale and cold in his trembling hand, and threw no light into that stifling dark. That's interesting. He was come to the heart of the realm of Sauron, and the forges of his ancient might, greatest in Middle-earth. All other powers were here subdued. Fearfully, he took a few uncertain steps in the dark. And then, all at once, there came a flash of red that leaped upward and smote the high black roof. Then Sam saw that he was in a long cave or tunnel that bored into the mountain's smoking core, or a smoking cone. But only a short way ahead, its floor and walls on either side were cloven by a great fissure, out of which the red glare came, now leaping up, now dying down into darkness. And all the while, far below, there was a rumor and a trouble as of great engines throbbing and laboring. The light sprang up again, and there on the brink of the chasm, at the very crack of doom, stood Frodo. black against the glare. Tense, erect, but still as if he had been turned to stone. "Master!" cried Sam. Then Frodo stirred and spoke with a clear voice. Indeed, with a voice clearer and more powerful than Sam's had ever heard him use. And it rose above the throb and turmoil of Mount Doom, ringing in the roofs and walls. "I have come," he said, "but I do not choose now to do what I came to do. I will not do this deed. The ring is mine." And suddenly, as he set it on his finger, he vanished from Sam's sight. Sam gasped, but he had no chance to cry out. For at that moment, many things happened. Anybody else getting the chills here? Holy smokes, this is terrifying. And far away, oh no, something struck Sam violently in the back. His legs were knocked from under him, and he was flung aside, striking his head against the stony floor as a dark shape sprang over him. He lay still, and for a moment all went black. And far away, as Frodo put on the ring and claimed it for his own, even in Sammath Naur, the very heart of his realm, the power in Barad-dûr was shaken, and the tower trembled from its foundation and to its proud and bitter crown. The Dark Lord was suddenly aware of him, and his eye, piercing all shadows, looked across the plain to the door that he had made. And the magnitude of his own folly was revealed to him in a blinding flash. And all the devices of his enemy were at last laid bare. Then his wrath blazed in a consuming flame, but his fear rose like a vast black smoke to choke him. For he knew his deadly peril and the thread upon which his doom now hung. From all his policies and webs of fear and treachery, from all his stratagems and wars, his mind shook free. And throughout his realm a tremor ran. His slaves quailed, and his armies halted, and his captains, suddenly steerless, bereft of will, wavered and despaired, for they were forgotten. The whole mind and purpose of the power that wielded them was now bent with overwhelming force upon the mountain. At his summons, wheeling with a rending cry in a last desperate race, there flew, faster than the winds, the Nazgul, the Ringwraiths, and with a storm of wings they hurtled southward to Mount Doom. I just have constant chills right now. Like my whole arm, my whole body is just like one big chills. Sam got up. He was dazed, and blood streaming from his head dripped in his eyes. He groped forward. And then he saw a strange and terrible thing. Gollum on the edge of the abyss was fighting like a mad thing with an unseen foe. To and fro he swayed, now so near the brink that almost he tumbled in, now dragging back, falling to the ground, rising and falling again, and all the while he hissed but spoke no words. The fires below awoke in anger. The red light blazed, and all the cavern was filled with a great glare and heat. Suddenly, Sam saw Gollum's long hand draw upwards to his mouth. His white fangs gleamed and then snapped as they bit. Frodo gave a cry, and there he was, fallen upon his knees at the chasm's edge. But Gollum, dancing like a mad thing, held aloft the ring, a finger still thrust within its circle. It shone now, as if verily it was wrought of living fire. "Precious, precious, precious," cried Gollum. "My precious, oh my precious." And with that, even as his eyes were lifted up to gloat on his prize, he stepped too far. Toppled. Wavered for a moment on the brink. And then with a shriek, he fell. Out of the depths came his last wail, "Precious." And he was gone. There was a roar and a great confusion of noise. Fires leaped up and licked the roof. The throbbing grew to a great tumult, and the mountain shook. Sam ran to Frodo and picked him up and carried him out to the door. And thereupon, in the dark threshold of Samath'nar, high above the plains of Mordor, such wonder and terror came on him that he stood still, forgetting all else, and gazed at one turned to stone. A brief vision he had of swirling cloud, and in the midst of its tower and battlements, tall as hills, founded upon a mighty mountain throne above immeasurable pits, great courts and dungeons, eyeless prisons sheer as cliffs, and gaping gates of steel and adamant. And then all passed. Towers fell and mountains slid. Walls crumbled and melted, crashing down. Vast spires of smoke and spouting steams went billowing up, until they toppled like an overwhelming wave. And its wild crest curled and came foaming down upon the land. And then at last, over the miles between, there came a rumble, rising to a deafening crash and roar. The earth shook. The plain heaved and cracked, and Aradruin reeled. Fire belched from its riven summit. The skies burst asunder into thunder, seared with lightning. Down like lashing whips fell a torrent of black rain, and into the heart of the storm, with a cry that pierced all other sounds, tearing the clouds asunder, the Nazgul came, shooting like flaming bolts, as caught in the fiery ruin of hill and sky they crackled, withered, and went out. "Well, this is the end, Sam Gamgee," said a voice by his side. And there was Frodo, pale and worn, and yet himself again. And in his eyes there was peace now. Oh. Neither strain of will, nor madness, nor any fear. His burden was taken away. There was the dear master of the sweet days in the Shire. "Master," cried Sam, and fell upon his knees. In all that ruin of the world, for the moment, he felt only joy. Great joy. The burden was gone. His master had been saved. He was himself again. He was free. And then Sam caught sight of the maimed and bleeding hand. Your poor hand, he said. I have nothing to bind it with, or comfort it. I would have spared him a whole hand of mine, rather. But he's gone now, beyond recall. Gone forever. Yes, said Frodo. But do you remember Gandalf's words? Even Gollum may have something yet to do. But for him, Sam, I could not have destroyed the ring. The quest would have been in vain, even at the bitter end. So let us forgive him. For the quest is achieved, and now all is over. I am glad you are here with me. Here at the end of all things, Sam. What the heck? Uh... Oh, I don't even have words. What do I do? Frodo having peace in his eyes. That scene made me almost lose it. Because I haven't seen that peace in his eyes in months. Oh. 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 Maybe it was because I was reading that all together, but that felt like the best writing that I've ever encountered. The pacing of that was perfect. Like, I love this so much more than, like, the ring gets a little lava bed and slowly falls in. The pacing here was just exquisite. Oh. Like, there's visions that are happening here. Oh, this is so good. And then one of the first things that Frodo does is say, "Let us forgive him." I know people talk about in the movies that Sam is, like, the real hero of the movies, and people talk about that in the books. Legitimately, the main character in this is Gollum. As this is going to be ludicrous, but I'll probably write an essay about this. Gollum is the main character of this story. Or the most necessary. And you get this, Sauron realizes that he's been played. That was so fun to see that. I was going to write an essay about that. I highlighted that as I was reading. Yeah, pity saved the day. Yep, honestly. Yeah, he saved the day, but he's not the main character. I think that's a better way to put it. Yeah, he's not the main character. That's a better way to put it. Yeah, Frodo doesn't push him in. He just celebrates. So he's dancing and then literally just falls into it. That's so much more poetic. Oh my gosh. Also, thanks for the gifted memberships. Really appreciate it. Congrats on getting the gifted memberships, guys. This was so crazy. I don't know what to do. Dennis, indeed, this is unbelievably epic. Now that I finished with Mount Doom chapter, posted a letter by Tolkien to the Discord that I need to read. Tolkien says Frodo indeed failed, and then he explains what he means. Oh, okay, we're going to read that on stream in a minute. Jack, thank you. I got to the end of all things. And there's like so much, like Frodo, like the wisdom of Frodo in the last paragraph in this right here, where he literally is like, he's saying like, so he has so much wisdom. He answers the exact question. He understands. He has understanding to talk about Gollum. He has the wisdom to say, forgive him. And then the emotional capacity to say, I'm glad that I'm here with you. Here at the end of all things, Sam. Oh. I'm never going to be the same. I'm never going to be the same. Like Judas, Gollum betrays his master for the salvation of the world. Dang. Dan, thanks for the 20. Thanks for the 22, Gravel Nerd. This is I'm never gonna recover from this. I'm never gonna. What do I do now in my life? I just reread it. I just keep rereading. What the heck? This is just. Man. This is crazy. I know there's still 7 chapters left. I know, but this still just feels like it. Like, this is the greatest written thing that I've ever encountered in my life. It just blows me away. One ending down, 670 to go. Guys, if Pippin dies, I delete the channel. Oh my gosh. All right, we got a letter here. Oh, this is a real long letter. I can't read this whole thing on stream. But I cannot wait to read this. Maybe I'll read this. I'll do like a members live. And I'll read this on members live or something. And we'll talk about this. Do it. I can't do it right now because I gotta take Wes for a walk. And I gotta emotionally recover from this chapter. That's actually a good question. There's no spoilers in this, right? I'm gonna turn a light. Oh man. There's no spoilers to that letter, right? Not really. I mean, I know the movie, so nothing is really spoiled. But it's crazy. One of the things that I was thinking of too, I like know how this story is in the book or in the movies, not in the books. And still, those last two pages were the most surprising last two pages I've ever read in my life. Can't be a member because it's not available in your region. That's crazy. That sucks. I barely make any members content, but I make a little bit just to reward any members. So there's not like, you're not missing out on a ton. But thanks for the support for the members. You guys are the best. Membership is just $5 a month. Does one question, I mean multiple questions, one immediate question. The Nazgul just, they go out like candles. For a minute there, I thought the Nazgul were still going to be alive. Wait, are they still alive? Because like in my head I'm going, it seems like everything in like I love Frodo's vision there too. Like Frodo has this vision of everything that's happening, like all these things like being moved, and then all of a sudden in my head I'm like, the Nazgul are still alive. Why are they still alive? The Nazgul came shooting like flaming bolts, as caught in the fiery ruin of hill and sky. They crackled, withered, and went out. I want to know too, did like the elven rings feel this? Like is Galadriel like, oh, I felt a little thing on my finger. That means the ring is destroyed and Frodo accomplished his mission. Honestly, my favorite line in this entire chapter, there were so many good lines. So many good lines in this chapter. This is one of the chapters with maybe the most good lines. But I think one of my favorites is, well, this is the end, Sam Gamgee. Like, Sam, like, he has this whole vision, and then all of a sudden it says, well, this is the end, Sam Gamgee, said a voice by his side. And there was Frodo, pale and worn, and yet himself again. And in his eyes there was peace now. Neither strain of will nor madness nor any fear. Like Frodo has deserved that for so long. And he finally has peace. He's finally Frodo again, and Sam recognized him immediately. Oh, this is such a good chapter. And there's going to be a lot of essays in this chapter. Lord of the Rings is actually Hobbit propaganda. It is. It feels like it is. No West camera because he's on the bed right now, way over there. I don't know if the camera even will catch him. He's like hiding behind it. Oh my gosh. It's the Lord of the Rings. Sauron thinks he is the main character, but he falls with 100 pages left for sure. The main character is Eru Ilúvatar. Also, the letter only spoils if I hadn't read Mount Doom. Okay, excellent. I'm going to read this then. Not right now, because I got to take Wes for a walk. And I have to go pee, but I will read it. Should we read it on stream or no? I was actually going to do this later. Okay. I don't know if many of you are going to be around. But later, I actually might do this later tonight. I might read some of these. I don't know if I'm going to emotionally be able to recover from what I just read. But after my walk, in like a few hours, I'm going to go on a walk, go get some dinner, and then just lay on my bed and just think, what the heck did I just read? And then after that, if I emotionally recover enough and if I have peace in my eyes, I may perhaps read some letters from Father Christmas, because it's the Christmas spirit. That was one of the greatest chapters that I've ever read in my entire life. Specifically the end of that chapter. Mr. Donato, $50? Are you crazy? You don't have to give that much. That's so generous of you. A momentous occasion. The realm of Sauron has ended forever. I'm glad to be with you at the end here too. The end of all things. I honestly, that comment means so much to me. You guys are the best. The fellowship we've had as a community is amazing. I will say you guys have made this so enjoyable. Like, I was talking about this with some of the people on the stream, or like members, that the community that we have here is just top tier. Like, I know that there are communities that like end up getting and like devolving into like madness, but you guys have just been nothing but positive and like enjoying the read and like just going along with me on this journey. And that is a really rare thing, I have to say. I think that is a wildly rare thing for a community to actually do that and like support someone who's like in their first read without really giving spoilers. And like, even on my bad takes, you guys are pretty good and kind. Like, you guys have made this so fun. And it's not, the journey's not even over, which is like the best part of this. Man. This is just so good. Yeah, honestly, it's a pretty chill fan base except for Rings of Power. I have to say too. Yeah, Nemo for real. When I used to listen to this, and most of you actually don't know that. This is the funny part, because when we started the podcast, I started it. I read through the Fellowship of the Ring the first time, but I listened to it, and I tried to listen to it passively, because I was like, I know most things. I'll be able to like follow along, and I couldn't at all. To the point where I was doing the podcast and I was like, I don't know what is happening. I don't know anything in this book. And that's when I decided, I was like, okay, after Fellowship, I need to actually read this, because I was like, it's like all over the place. I was like, what is going on? Because I could not focus on a listen. And I realized at that moment that I can't really listen to audiobooks. I'm not like a great mind or audiobook listener. I do on some. I love a good audiobook, but on some it's hard. I don't on this one it's tough for me. Off topic. Would I ever read Great Expectations? I read Great Expectations a long time ago, and I did like it. I remember when I did it, I liked it, but I don't remember much about it. You read it for school, and it was great. Love that. But I'll reread it. I am gonna do like a classics channel that I'll read some classics on. We'll talk about some beautiful classics that I've read that we'll read together. So this is like just the beginning. That's why that comment was so kind, because this it's just fun, like carving out a little community here. You guys have been like the best. You guys make this so fun. And it's just fun to be able to like chill and do this. That's why I really wouldn't want to just turn this into like good book clubs, like just sitting and chatting about good books. It's just so fun. I want to do that for the rest of my life. It's just the best. I still struggle. Even if I play it too fast, I still find it hard to follow. Yeah, I'd rather focus on the story. And that's why I just like reading, the act of reading. Calms you down a little bit, makes you focus on the story. It's like that's all you're doing. I'm not doing something passively. Chapter 49 of Great Expectations is a masterpiece. I still remember there was a chapter of Anna Karenina that I read, which I would love to reread because I forgot a lot about that. I remember there was a chapter that I read of that I was literally highlighting every line in that chapter because it was so good. Yeah, reading is the best thing ever, guys. Harry Potter is Agatha Christie meets Tolkien. Interesting. I kind of like that. Yeah, Gravel Nerd. That is absolutely like what this is, and it's like an honor to be able to do this with you guys, because I don't know this, and I'm not like an absolute, like I think I am a Tolkien nerd now. I'd probably put myself in that category, but I'm still so young in my Tolkien fandom, and like it's just fun being able to have you guys vicariously live through me. Who's reading this? Sorry, that was my mic. If that broke your eardrums, I'm so sorry. Sorry, guys. Hopefully that wasn't that crazy loud. That broke my eardrums. Well, sorry, but that was just the mic. But yeah, it's just fun because no, you're deaf now. Sorry, guys. I have not been shot. It was my mic holder going back into its hold, and it just snapped into place for a second. Oh no, everyone went deaf on a stream. No. Now Wes is looking around. But I was saying it is so fun to just have you guys be able to vicariously live through me, who is reading it for the first time. Is audio off? No. I'm so sorry, guys. You guys got great senses of humor. But maybe all of you actually are deaf. I don't know. Man, it is just, yeah, it's fun to be able to like have you guys vicariously live through me, because this is just such a fun first time read experience, and I can't wait to just keep doing more and just developing this community. So that was, such a kind comment, Mr. Donato. I really appreciate you. Man, what a great chapter. Man, I don't know what to do anymore. What do I do? I mean, I keep reading, obviously, but like, I feel just like, who else feels peace? Like, I feel like Frodo in this moment. Like, my mind is just buzzing. Like, emotionally, I am out. But I just feel like a weight is lifted off my shoulders. Yeah, we gotta go see if Pippin survives. No! You better. Man. I keep saying this, but I just I feel like I don't know what to do. Like, this is just so good. Chapter 4. Wait, if I flip, it's called The Funeral. No! The Funeral of Pippin. Imagine if he spoiled a chapter like that. Saying, this is the funeral of Pippin. Oh my gosh, what a chapter. What a chapter. I have to say, there's been a few times in my life when after I finished a book like this that I've been in this state of what do I do now in my life? I'm not even done with this book and I feel that. I don't think I'm going to be able to handle the rest of this book. Legitimately, I think I'm going to need the 670 goodbyes that we have in this book. Otherwise, how do you go on? Yeah, you guys are watching a mental crisis live. What even? Wow. Chapter 4 is the best and the most emotional. Oh gosh. So next week we're going to have to deal with even more emotion. Yikes. I can't wait. I love a good emotional chapter. That was incredible. That was the best. Yeah, don't worry. Game of Thrones is coming. Game of Thrones is coming really a lot quicker than I think. I'll probably start Game of Thrones in the next, probably by the new year. And then I cannot wait to do Hobbit. Every chapter is emotional from this point on. Chapter 5, highly emotional. Chapter 6, even higher. Chapter 7, oh, it's the highest. Favorite chapters are the next 3. Oh, I love this so much. You guys get me so excited when you say stuff like that because I have so much excitement to look forward to. Yep, Dune is happening too. Dune is happening eventually. Not immediately, but Dune is happening. Tolkien holds you up so you don't tumble off this peak. Oh gosh, that's crazy. And one of the things literally I'm interested to see is how he does keep you engaged in a conclusion. Because most people, for like conclusions, like you just kind of read them fast. Yes, Nemo. This is where it gets really good, guys. This is the point where it gets good. I feel like I'm like the other end of the joke now. 2 hours per page of Dune. I don't mind that. You guys might mind that, but I don't mind that. Gravel Nerd, have a great night late in Austria. I'm probably gonna sign off too in a sec. Man. Sometimes your reread starts at book 6, chapter 4. I'm so pumped now. I'm so pumped for chapter 4. It's going to be great. I know a lot of people don't like Dune. Dune is the worst if you're a Tolkien child. Well, we'll read it and we'll form our own opinions. Maybe you guys can read it with me if you hate it. You can hate read it. I know, one more battle. I keep hearing that. The Scouring of the Shire, right? That's the battle, the last battle, the final battle. Michael, thanks for all your donos too. You're really the best. It's so funny too. Side note, and then I'm gonna end the stream because I'm gonna go to the bathroom and then go take Wes for a walk. Side note, one of my favorite things. I don't really watch a ton of YouTube with some intensity. I don't watch a ton of YouTube videos on Lord of the Rings because I obviously don't want spoilers, but every once in a while one will come up that seems spoiler free and I'll watch it. And one of my favorite things to do is scroll through the comments and see you guys commenting on other videos. Legitimately, I think the cream of the crop of Tolkien fans are part of our community, and it's like the first hour of another Tolkien video going up, you guys are all in the comments. It's like, oh, I know all these people. It just feels like a fun little community. It's like the best. So you guys are like, to me, the most upper echelons of Tolkien and Lord of the Rings fans, and I am honored to have been on and to keep going on this journey with you guys. So it's really fun, guys. It's really fun. Really thanks. Really wanted to thank you guys. One time you wrote a 5-paragraph essay about orcs in a comment and no one responded, but people responded to orc memes. No. I read most of the comments in the thing. I don't have a ton of time to respond because I'm just trying to write a ton of essays, but one day I will rewatch all my videos and maybe respond a year later to all of them. We'll get there eventually. All right, guys. I am going to go take Wes for a walk. I will probably come back on later and read some of the letters from Father Christmas. Maybe not a ton of them, but maybe we'll have like a little after hours stream, after dark stream, and I'll read some of the letters from Father Christmas. Maybe we'll start reading like 10 or so. YouTube comment essays still is great. You guys have a great evening. You too, Dane. Thank you. This was so fun. This was so good. Wes is the real streaming buddy. He's just laying there. He's ready to go on his walk. And it's getting dark out. But, guys, I'm happy to be with you guys here at the end of all things. Here at the end of all things. I feel like I should end my videos with that this week. I am glad you are here with me. And as always, remember, I am glad you are here with me. Here at the end of all things. I'm gonna change before I cry. See you guys. You guys are the best. Everyone, say goodbye to Galadriel.